Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak.
Do you remember where you were when we elected a Sasquatch president?
How about when you learned Ben Franklin was a robot?
Or first heard Stalin's mixtape?
I'm Zach Powers.
I'm Brian Flynn, and we host The Revisionists.
Each episode, one person explains real history and another tells an alternate version.
And the winner becomes the truth. We let comics from Denver and around the country run wild through history.
It's an in-depth look at history, but with more Babadooks.
Check out The Revisionists, available every other Saturday.
Wherever you get podcasts and at revisionistpodcast.com.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dave Callahan, creator of Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
And this is Peter Atencio, the director of Jean-Claude Van Johnson, and you're listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Welcome to the Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Pop Culture Con Denver
you screwed it up.
of 2019.
Nope.
If you get the name wrong, they won't let us come back.
Hey, I said unofficially.
Unofficially.
I am a host, James,
Mm-hmm.
and I am joined as sometimes by
Zach.
and
Brad.
and not Ryan, because Ryan's puking his guts out.
Or is he solving a mystery for Idaho Springs?
Oh, that could be.
I think he's probably just puking. Never mind.
He's probably puking. I told him puking his guts out would make for good tape.
Maybe he's
but
puking
he
while
chose not to
solving a
come.
mystery. The
Right.
mystery of why he's puking.
It could be.
Yeah.
What's in my vomit? That's a mystery.
Just him, like, sitting Indian style on the floor, like, poking at his own vomit. Like, what is that?
What's the connection between this vomit and my eating habits?
I didn't eat eggplant.
Ryan Frost and the Hardy
way
Boys
too
in
much.
What Did I Eat Last Night?
Whose vomit is this? There's vegetables in here.
Is it Daisy the dog, Kellen the kid, or is it myself?
It's definitely the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's so much bubble gum in this vomit. How you guys doing?
I'm still sick.
Oh,
I'm okay.
did you get Ryan sick?
Hopefully. That's all I'm living is now to infect everybody.
Yeah,
Patient
right.
zero.
That is your life motto. If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me.
Exactly. Live by those words.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I might. I'm gonna monitor myself over the next couple of days, see if I'm catching anything. But
No.
Brad and I were out on a film set on Saturday, and it was cold as shit.
Yeah, cold and windy, and
Yeah. It was fun though. I mean, I had fun at least watching it. It was Risa Scott who
Yeah, I saw your post.
she's been a guest on this podcast before.
been on
She has.
been on the podcast. I've directed her. Brad's directed her, and then she decided to go direct her own thing, and we decided to help.
She directed us.
her. She turned the tables. She
It's a
did.
twist.
She did a wonderful job, though. It was fantastic.
Oh,
it was,
good.
and me being cold was my own fault because I read the report and took it too literally, and I was just like, well, I only need my thin exercise hoodie. I don't need my bulky hoodie with fur inside of it.
Yeah.
And I was stupid and wrong.
It's nasty outside. This
Yeah,
whole weekend was weird. It was like it'd be warm. It would be absolutely beautiful, and then like 3 hours later, it'd be freezing. It's almost like we live in Colorado.
Yeah, I
Who
know.
would
It's
have
the Earth.
thought?
The Earth is dying and doesn't know what to do
Yeah.
with its.
Thanks, Obama.
Global warming is a
right.
myth.
No.
He invented
Stop.
it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right on.
Cool.
What did we
James-
see this week?
Yeah, what did we do
Oh
on
yeah.
the
Oh
show?
yeah. That's right. Right. This week we went and saw. Because of me, we went and saw Alita: Battle Angel.
Oh, excuse me, it's called Gunum.
This week we went and saw Gun Dream. James Cameron's realization of a 15, 20-year dream of finally making this weird anime into a movie
that he handed off to Robert Rodriguez.
that he gave up on because of money. Yeah. So we this week we went and saw it. We're gonna review it, and what we'll do is we'll talk about whether you should see the movie, and then we'll play the trailer, and then we'll review it, and we'll spoil the shit out of it, I'm sure. But before we get there, we're gonna talk about what we've been watching and movie news and what Blu-rays are coming out. But I think first we might go around town with Brad.
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
This is the part where Ryan sings a song.
Nope.
Brad's going
Don't
around.
do it.
Brad's going around town. Dun dun.
It's terrible.
We have a jingle for it.
I know.
It plays every week.
I
In
left
addition-
plenty of space for it. Brad, what's going on?
Not a lot. The Esquire is still not operational, so I'm losing my mind.
Esquire
Oh.
shut down day 75.
But I do know that this weekend, starting on Thursday at the Emerging Filmmakers Project, you can enjoy EF Palooza Friday and Saturday. Following that, it's extra Emerging Filmmakers Project goodness, where they're showing like repeats of all the greatest stuff from 2018 that they screened, including Cardigan Sorrow, which is mine, and that's I think 7 o'clock on Friday in that block. So they have blocks of films, and you pay $10 for a block or $25 for the whole festival. So you can come Thursday, Friday, or Saturday anytime.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
or the whole time for $25.
the whole time.
Or
This
you can just
weekend
pay
at the Bug Center.
$15 for a day if you only want to do. Obviously, the one block on Thursday that's EFP is just $5 because that would suck for $15.
Yeah.
But the other days, if you want to, maximize your money, definitely take advantage of that. But anyway, yeah, it's all the best of 2018 in one condensed weekend. So it's a big festival event for at the Bug Theater. Check it out.
Colorado Films. Indie.
Yep, Colorado Films.
We were talking when we were sitting at the Alamo beforehand. Dan Weingart, who's been on the show before, was with us, and he was asking. I was like, "Hey, what are your best experiences you've ever had at the theater?" I'm gonna bring this back around. Don't worry. What are the best experiences you've ever had in a theater? And the first one that I thought of was actually at the Esquire when I saw Pulp Fiction at midnight with an audience of people who loved it and were quiet, except they couldn't help but laugh before the joke.
Yeah.
So the scene with Christopher Walken would just start, and they would laugh, and then they would all be quiet, and then they would just
it's up his butt.
right.
His butt.
Yeah, but they didn't
Wrecked them.
they didn't say anything out loud. They just couldn't help but laugh before the movie started. Right.
Be hilarious if one guy in the little pocket of the corner was just going his ass.
Yeah. or they all booed and hissed when it skipped over the Elvis versus the Beatles scene. Because the version they had wasn't the complete version. But anyway, it was great, and so my fingers are crossed for the Esquire.
Yeah, I need something to do at midnight on a Friday and Saturday.
Other than sleep.
Yeah.
Other than sleep, because sleeping sucks, right?
No,
Yeah.
Right.
Who wants to sleep?
No, yeah, no.
Yeah. Cool.
I like Insomnia so much because there's a lack of sleep in it. The movie, I mean, not the act of insomnia. No,
Which movie?
Al Pacino's Insomnia.
Not the original Swedish version, Norwegian?
No.
I've never seen that. I just know of the one that Nolan did where Al Pacino goes nuts on Robin Williams. It's a good movie.
I don't like that movie. It's maybe my least favorite Nolan film.
But it's better than other films,
Because
certainly.
he didn't write it.
I think it's my least favorite Nolan film.
That's fine. I'm just saying, the worst Nolan film is better than a lot of films.
Fair.
We can say.
Sure. Yeah. There's probably not another Nolan film that's even in
No.
contest with that. Right? That's probably universal
Following's better than Insomnia, but that's
and it gets extra credit for being his first film.
Exactly.
You don't put that. Nobody's gonna be like, well, Ryan Johnson's worst film is Brick. Well, fuck you. Come on.
Who the fuck would ever say that?
Who's even having this conversation?
Oh wait, I know they're trying to make another. The guys who say that are trying to remake one of his movies. So I get that.
Probably fair. Yeah.
They're just saying, like the Brothers Bloom.
Those teenagers talk like adults. Anyway,
Why do they sound like Bogart? Only Bogart can sound like Bogart. Bang.
Speaking of transitions, do we have a thing from Corinne this week?
We do. We have another Catching Up with the Classics with Corinne.
Great.
Hey nerds, Corinne here with part 13 of Catching the Classics, where I watch famous and popular movies I've never seen before and send in my reviews. This week, The English Patient. So I just want to say right off the bat that you guys, I don't know, I felt like you built it up like it was going to be this horrible, like, long, drawn out, really boring movie, and it was not as bad as you had led me to believe. I was not. I mean, yeah, there were parts that were long, and, well, I'll get into it later, but it wasn't that bad. Would I watch it again? Probably. Would I watch it again sometime this year? No, I'd take a couple of years before I'd see it again, but, you know, if it were up to me. But if, like, I don't know, somebody was like, I gotta sit down and watch this movie, will you watch it with me? I'd say, sure, let me go get some alcohol first. So, going into this movie, I knew that Colin Firth was in it. I knew Ralph Fiennes was in it. I knew it kind of took place. I knew that it was, like, backwards, or, like, told out of order chronologically. I knew that it was kind of this sweeping romance set in World War II. So, things I liked about it, I liked the soundtrack, the look and the feel of the movie, costumes, sets. It's a very just beautiful movie all around. The performances are great. But I guess the bad thing or things about it is this, I don't really care for the characters. The story it's okay. I don't mind it being told out of order, although I do feel like there are some scenes missing. The one example I could give is whenever Colin Firth's character finds out that the two main people are having an affair, and he is like sitting in the cab outside the hotel, and we never like see any of the fallout from that, or at least not any of the immediate fallout from that. I mean, we do find out, I mean, obviously he knows about the affair, but we don't see any kind of tense scenes between him and Almashi, or between him and Catherine. I don't know. I don't know if they were in there initially and they just took them out, or if they just felt, it would bog down the story too much, let's keep it going. Which, I understand that. Like, it is a really long movie, so you do have to keep things going, and you can't get bogged down in the weeds, but, I mean, the whole thing at the very end, when Colin Firth's character crashes the plane into the desert, killing himself and injuring Catherine, it seems like that kind of came out of nowhere. Like, Catherine says that he must have known, but I guess there's, like, no build-up to it with his character of, you know, did he feel this kind of homicidal rage all along? This homicidal/suicidal rage all along? Because it seems like a very drastic turn. Why did he all of a sudden want to kill himself and or Catherine and or Almashi? Was it because of the war? Was it because everybody else had left? Like, why now? Like, why all of a sudden are you doing this dive bomb with the plane trying to kill everybody? So, I guess I'm just getting hung up on that because I love Colin Firth, and I'm like, I feel like you just wrote him out of the movie because you just had to have the two people fall in love in the desert or whatever. But, that was the other thing that really bugged me, was that really dramatic scene. And while I loved the way the shot is framed and the music that comes in, but whenever he's like carrying her through the desert and he sees the thimble that she's wearing, he's like, "Oh, you're still wearing it?" And she's like, "Yeah, I always wear it. I've always worn it because I've always loved you." And this like sweeping dramatic music comes in, and the look on his face is just so pained, which I get. But it's like, why are you making this out to be some kind of big dramatic reveal? She said multiple times earlier in the film that even though they weren't allowed to be together, she still was in love with him. I don't know. I didn't like them. That's just me though, because anytime there's like movie characters or a couple in a movie where one of them or both of them are married or in some kind of committed relationship and they're essentially cheating on their significant others to be together, I already am like, I'm sorry, I'm not on your side here. You can have the greatest romance in the world and I'm not going to root for it because what you're doing is unethical and unfair to whoever your significant other is. So, just going to say that. But that's me. So, overall, like, yeah, it was okay. Side note, I was much more invested in Hannah and Kip's relationship than I was in Almashi and Catherine's relationship. And there were some legitimately good scenes. The one where Kip is defusing the bomb and the tanks are driving over the bridge. That was a really, really good scene. And I was, spoilers, genuinely surprised he didn't die in that scene. I mean, I was holding my breath. I'm like, oh no, Kip's gonna die. No, not Naveen Andrews. But thankfully he did not. So, anyway, I would give The English Patient 3, or if we can do the half-point system, 3.5 stars out of 5. So, next week, not sure what I'm going to watch, because hopefully I will have one or multiple special guests with me. So I'll have to see what they're willing to watch, or at least what they're willing to talk about. So, catch you all later, and hope you had fun at Alita Battle Angel this week. Bye!
Man, we really gotta retitle this section, like, Corinne tortures herself on the canon. Like,
I will say that we joke about The English Patient a lot, mainly because of the year it came out and how many things it interferes with. But it's not a bad movie. It's a great film. Like, Minghella was a talented director. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2008.
More entertaining than the second half of Lawrence of Arabia. Which I would put it.
You just don't like talking about water.
God, it's so fucking boring.
But no, I mean, like, it's a decent film. Like, I find the interesting aspects of The English Patient more about its production and how it almost never got released. More intriguing than the story itself sometimes, but it's Saul Zaentz producing. It's one of the last things Saul Zaentz really spearheaded in a big ass way, and also it's the film that launches Miramax into the fucking awards stratosphere. So it is
responsible for all this pain.
Yeah. Also, though, John Seale, the brilliant genius who was the DP behind Mad Max Fury Road, this is one of the limited projects that he shot. Like, his filmography is not too long. So, but yeah, cool. I mean, I'd actually like to rewatch it again at some point. You know, when I have fucking 4 hours to kill. But
right. Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I'd like to give a shout out to Corinne, who also helped us this weekend.
Yeah,
she
kicked
film
ass.
shoot. So.
Yeah. She kept everything in check and whatnot, and made sure we
thankless
all stayed
job,
along.
and she did it.
Yeah. So
we should get her to share her list with us of what's on there, and then we should make some suggestions for things.
Prioritize it.
Are you trying to influence a journalist's list?
I'm trying to help. I just want to help her because, dear Lord, some weeks I'm just like, oh man.
Corinne, next week you should watch the second half of Lawrence of Arabia. Don't watch the first half.
Right. Have you ever seen They Live? They Live is just as much canon as The English Patient.
I agree.
Go watch They Live.
Somehow more so in my mind.
Yeah, because that fight is way better than anything in They Live or in English Patient.
The fight between Keith David and Roddy Piper is much more deserving of an Oscar than anything The English Patient received.
And I only think of that because it's the first thing I saw when I looked over your shoulder.
On the show.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry.
I'm just
Lon
desperate
Chaney and
for...
the Phantom of the Opera is better than The English Patient. That is a definite given.
Yeah.
Sunrise.
And that's a good piece of the canon.
Exactly. Sunrise with Janet Gaynor is...
That's not the canon.
Sunrise is pretty amazing.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre. If she's never seen Treasure of the Sierra Madre, that's definitely canon.
Metropolis.
No, don't watch Metropolis. Look, Metropolis is great, and
The Grapes of Wrath.
God damn it, Zach. I like
this is a great
her.
film.
She's gonna murder her own person.
I know.
Anyway,
yeah.
thanks, Corinne.
Thank you, Corinne.
Always appreciate
For
it.
giving me a chance to do this bit visually that no one else could see.
I'll be praying for you. Oh God. Anyway, what do you guys want to do next? You want to do news?
I'm down for news.
Great news.
It's real news.
Speaking of Miramax, this week the Oscars tried to just really wanted to piss people off. There was no reason for any of it.
It's amazing how quick
They're trying to make a profitable show.
Yeah, well, they've been trying to do that for 20 years. At some point, they should just give up.
Yeah.
I mean, this year they cut out, a host from the budget, so I don't even know why they needed to be profitable. So the announcement was they were going to cut, honestly, all of the categories that I ever actually thought were worth seeing and not super politicized.
To be clear, the categories were live action shorts.
Political, I should be saying.
Yeah, live action short director of photography, editing, and makeup.
Director of photography and editing are
pretty essential to an actual film.
We should also be clear that they weren't cutting the segments;
Yes,
they were
just weren't showing them on
muting
TV.
them from the broadcast.
Yeah, but you could still
people
see
were
them
still getting awards.
Yeah, and you would still see them on a live stream if you were watching it on the internet.
Those were probably the only two awards that I felt like were given to that tended to be given to the most deserving film, not without a whole lot of like political or just maneuvering behind it.
Or at least that we're aware
that I felt
of.
like they were actually
Well, cinematography is unique to cinema. Like
Right.
the Tonys don't have the Tonys have actors and directors and editors, like a stage manager, I guess, or and scriptwriters. But
best guy
cinematography
who kept the
is
stage floor clean during each
the
performance.
Grammys have
Yeah.
singers and actors and
And you made a good point online about like they've been doing all the technical ones for years, which fair, but there's a difference between like at some point.
Well, people are arguing that like, well, yeah, they're still getting the awards and it's not televised, but it's like it's prioritizing the awards. It's like,
Right.
well,
yes,
they've been
Agreed.
deprioritizing those other three technical awards. So why aren't you upset? Last year,
but also to some degree, some of those have been created over the years as new technologies were introduced.
And also, there's awards. There's
the Governor's Awards.
There's
true.
there's jobs in the film industry that don't get awarded at all, so that
True.
they don't even get airtime and that, like
Oh,
stunt
yeah.
people.
But also to
yeah,
some degree,
stunts.
like honoring some of that stuff. Well, yeah, honoring some of that stuff is honoring those teams, right? You go look at Roger Deakins getting it last year, and he talked about, he really said like this is really for all of the other people who work on my team and who I've worked with, and so to some degree, it's trying to recognize that film. The other thing is that it at least for the film savvy people who are watching their show, it informs in a lot of ways future film marketing. If you can go say like, hey, people will recognize some of those names that they have seen win. And sure, like it's not makeup, but DP and editing do pop up some, and like people do follow at least DPs.
I'd argue makeup can, given the right circumstances, like Rick Baker's a no name.
Sure.
Like now, has he done anything in a while? Not really.
Has he ever won an Oscar?
He's won multiple.
Oh, okay.
Ed Wood and The Wolfman among them. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
But it comes down to is like ABC has to sell ad time, and they have to convince advertisers that appeal to not film nerds but mainstream audiences.
Sure.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. They don't give a shit about us.
At the end of the day, they shouldn't give a shit about me. There is nothing on the earth that will make me watch their fucking show.
If they really care about like the show honoring cinema, they should put the show let the contract expire and put the show on like the Criterion Channel or HBO.
Yes.
Or like Prime deal-y thing where they stream it through Prime. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ryan and I are the suckers who will watch it.
But Ryan has a bias. Ryan watches it for his wife because of their anniversary.
Well, I don't have a wife. I like watching it because I'm a masochist or sadist,
Yeah, sure.
apparently. But I enjoy watching it because, there's a part of me that still enjoys that pageantry, regardless of all the things I know that are behind it. But there's I think the thing that rubbed people the wrong way on this is that John Bailey, the president of the Academy, is a cinematographer. And the fact that he cut out that category, while on one end it does look like he's willing to give up even his own category in favor of making the show better, a lot of people saw it as a betrayal. I mean, if you look at that list of people in the industry who wrote that letter against it, like clearly they were not happy with this decision. So
I'd also like to point out the plan was to rotate the excluded category. So next year it would have been 4 different categories that would be televised.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't like they were going to just relegate it to. I think I don't know. Like, I mean, like I get why people are angry on every side of that situation, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, there was an article that came out that nobody's really talking about, which is award shows for the past 6 months have all been low ratings, hitting the bottom of the tank. So I think that their days are numbered anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, I guess I'll roll back my extreme statement a little bit, which is the only way to actually make people want to watch this thing is to make it more of a celebration of film and less a stodgy, up its own ass, giving ourselves award. Like, you gotta go put in some montages and talk about some movies. You gotta give a movie to you gotta give an award to fucking Black Panther or The Dark Knight, or like you gotta actually celebrate the movies that people give a fucking shit about, and the filmmakers that people give a shit about, right? Like,
agreed. Or you up the stakes, so the winner gets an Oscar, the 4 losers get shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, like,
or find a way to make the decision like quantitative, like. Because it's all marketing and campaigning that decides who chooses what for the award. So if it was a real there's specific merit as to why this is the best picture. Yeah, like because it checked these boxes. Then
Well, and I think if you look at like how many talented people over the years we have lamented them being. Like they're people that people have followed for years and years and talked about how great they were. I think of Guillermo del Toro or Roger Deakins, right? Like, here's these guys that people who love film talked about those guys forever, and it took them forever to get awards or to even really get celebrated. Like, that's what they're missing. Like, you got to figure out a way to give some awards away every year that maybe aren't the, hey, this is the best this or the best that, but you are actually just honoring people who have been doing an amazing job.
Contributions to film.
That's what the AFI's Lifetime Achievement Award is, which I think.
Yeah, but it's a Lifetime Achievement Award, right?
But I think that's the closest we get right now. Which, I mean, I wish we had more of it. Yes, sure. But the AFI, the AFI is not perfect. It's like any other organization, but I do like the show they put on because it does go through the career and it explicitly states why they are worthy of that award.
Yeah, but if instead of waiting till the end of somebody's life, like what if the same year that Pacific Rim came out, they gave an award to Guillermo del Toro not because of Pacific Rim, but because of
Blade 2,
a long history of great films, a celebrated career, his visual style being so different. Like if you went and did every year a 10-minute segment that celebrated somebody that people actually loved, that was going to be sort of tear-jerky and was going to actually be meaningful, like that would be something worth tuning into.
Well, that's what the Governor's Ball contains.
Sure,
yes,
and
that's what kind of sucks is that they don't do the honorary award on that show anymore.
Yeah,
one of the coolest ones they did before he got his competitive Oscar was Ennio Morricone, and having Clint Eastwood get up there and talk about how much he loved Ennio Morricone.
Right.
And or Blake Edwards one, like him crashing his fucking his fucking wheelchair and then getting up and getting the award from Jim Carrey. Like these are things that I'd enjoy, but we don't get them, and like I've just learned to accept.
But that's my point. My point is, if you want to make a good show that actually talks to people who care about movies at home, like that's that's what they're missing. Like instead, they treat it as like, hey, this is our chance to get, XYZ movie that's still in theaters or is getting re-released to make a little more money for this sort of dying structure that we're trying to protect, while at the same time really pretending like we stand for something. It's just, I think it's a waste of time.
I mean, the Academy is going to exist no matter what, but I think that the televising of it or the way they present those awards is going to change within the next 5 to 10 years in a more drastic way than we're already seeing. So,
but not this year because after pissing everybody off, they said, and we take it back. Sorry.
And not only that, they said, "Oh yeah. Bette Midler's gonna sing a song, so that'll be fun, right?" Remember Beaches? Y'all remember Beaches? Everybody loves Beaches.
Unless they had announced that Billy Crystal was hosting, I don't think there was anything they were.
I would be divided on that. I love Billy Crystal. On the other hand, I've seen Billy Crystal do things on that show that would boggle your mind.
Speaking of pissing people off, this week we got a trailer for Aladdin from Disney. This is the live-action remake of Disney that kind of looks like it was made by the Asylum. This is...
How do you describe New Genie?
It's not even...
It's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion.
My biggest concern with this movie isn't Will Smith as
No, it's
Genie.
not. It isn't. It's
that everything else looks not good.
It's Guy Ritchie too, which sucks. I like Guy Ritchie. I don't love him.
But this
I
is
like
not
him.
what he does.
I know, and that's what's concerning me. It's
if it were Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
that'd be dope as hell.
Yeah, and also like Jungle Book, obviously it's on green screens and stuff like that, but like I don't know if there's a difference between what Ritchie's doing and what Favreau's doing, but everything looked like it was coming straight out of George Lucas's offices. I
think part of it is that this is a movie where there is a lot of performance.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of like actual people, I should say, right? By contrast to Jungle Book,
Right, but the footage they're showing us isn't inspiring that.
Right, there's not a lot of performance here, and so I guess what I mean is this one hangs very heavily on the romance. They need to put out a trailer that makes me really want those two people to fall in love and have no Genie in it, because you could sell the Disney movie or the animated movie on the Genie because he's the crutch that holds that movie up. He is the entertainment factor,
But
right?
I think that's also the most divisive part of this for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, it doesn't look
so.
good.
I think that this was always going to be a problem, no matter what they did.
Now, the only thing I can think is that the Genie pops up like that and he's big and blue, and then immediately turns himself into Will Smith in Arabic clothes and spends the rest of the movie just looking like Will Smith. Because if they don't do that, I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know. We'll see. It's the Disney film I'm the least interested in seeing. Tim Burton's Dumbo looks way better than the film than the film Aladdin looks right now, at least in my eyes.
You know what would have been great? They have all the audio. They could have just gone and made a CG version of Robin Williams' performance.
I don't know if that'd be respectful.
Brad's just shaking his head
I'm fine with the Will Smith thing. Like the only thing I was like, how come he's not translucent? But
sure,
that's fair.
And the CG's probably not done.
Well, they went through the trouble of making him a CGI. Like they could have just filmed him live action, but they still made him a CGI. Like he moves like a CGI character with Will Smith's face.
Yeah,
which seems odd to me that they would do that. But at that point, like why wouldn't he be why are they making him like a solid character?
Yeah.
I think even in the Disney version he's translucent. I haven't watched it in a while, but
well, at least like his sort of tail
like the
is...
bottom end is a little more translucent than the top.
He's kind of like a ghost,
and there's a glowy factor on it. I
mean, the glow, but
I haven't seen Aladdin in a while, to be honest.
I forgot what what started from.
Oh, Will Smith looks weird.
Yeah, Will Smith's like not being translucent, or
I'm fine with it. Like, it would be sillier to me to like go through the trouble of doing a live action version and then just like porting over clips of Robin Williams from the first movie.
To be clear, I was being sort of facetious because mostly just because.
But online, I've seen people complain like, "Why isn't it Robin Williams? Like, why isn't it Robin Williams?" Yeah.
Oh, I was kind of joking.
I'm just like, and then if they did it, they'd be like, "How dare you dishonor Robin Williams' memory like this?"
Wait, it's a really distasteful thing. That's why I said it as a joke.
Yeah.
Are there really people asking why Robin Williams isn't doing it? Because if so, we've got a bigger problem than Will Smith playing
people
the
are just
genie.
like, people. It's that thing like movies are so sacred that they can't be touched. And it's just like if people treated that like to theater, like stories would never have transcended
Yeah.
time. Like they'd be stuck in. Like you have to remake stuff to keep it in the consciousness and make it relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Like some of the earliest classics that we regard in high cinema today are remake. The Maltese Falcon is a fucking remake.
The English Patient.
The English Patient is an adaptation of a book. No, the Maltese Falcon, like Frankenstein, was made 3 times in silent format before they got it right with James Whale. Like,
Yeah.
This is cyclical. Like I talked about this when like years ago, in trying to explain it. Like it's just like these stories get retold for a reason. It's not to piss you off. And like honestly, we're the only culture within the past 20 to 30 to 40 years that's given a shit about remakes the way we are. Like before that, no one was really giving a shit about like, oh, a remake, how dare they dishonor the original.
And if it pisses you off, don't go see it, because honestly, Disney only does this because it makes them a lot of money.
Yeah, they have 3 like high-profile remakes in this year alone.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
exactly.
Because The Lion King's coming
and
out.
I'm worried about all of them for different reasons.
I'm the least worried about Dumbo.
But also, I'd say
I'm
like
the least worried about Lion King.
My fear of this one is like it's almost too close to the like. If
Yes,
you're gonna remake it, make it
exactly.
different.
Right.
Like he should not be like he should be a
shouldn't
blue
big
genie.
and blue. Yeah.
And you know the costumes and production design should be some like more different. Like
Right.
they even do like the lion-faced cave thing. Like that could be something different.
It could be anything.
If you're gonna do it again, do it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand out. Like a lot of it's a miss, but at least you tried. You know.
Right. Yeah, because some of what's great about Jungle Book is how much of it is different and how the story has changed, and like you don't quite know where it's going to go.
Right. I mean, like, and I mean, I don't know, like, it's not like I saw all 3 of those remake trailers back to back to back when I went to see Mary Poppins at Dolby Atmos, because it was like all tailored specifically for Disney that night, and like the barrage of it hit me, and I was just like, I can't wait till August, September, October, November when all the awards films come out, because at least they'll be different. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Some of these will be fun. Yeah. And I want to see Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton working with Tim Burton again. So if this is where it gets me, okay.
Sure.
You just seem so angry that I want to see Batman and the Penguin in the Tim Burton movie again.
That's fine.
That's all the news.
Yeah, that's all the news, please. There's nothing else.
Frozen 2. Moving on. We got a
go, James.
Netflix is making a Breaking Bad movie about Jesse. It seems like
Jesse.
So that's weird.
No Skyler, but Jesse.
Red Sonja is on hold because
a man did stuff.
Bryan Singer.
Yep. Act dude.
He's getting real close to, you know, back when all of the Weinsteinness happens, I remember specifically his name being one of those where I'm like, hey, we gotta be careful not to judge everybody. Like, we don't have a lot of evidence on this stuff. And then if you read that article from The Atlantic, we've got a lot of evidence on some stuff. So maybe Bryan Singer should take a break for a while we investigate him for crimes.
Yeah. Amongst other things.
Yeah. Yeah, also, from the sounds of it, that Apocalypse movie is going to be, or the X-Men movie is going to be really bad, but that's Simon Kinberg.
Yeah, that's Simon Kinberg's issue.
Still.
That's not.
Kenan Thompson is going to remake All That on Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the
or do I want that?
most exciting SNL news I've ever heard.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be interesting.
That's a show that should exist. I don't know why it still doesn't.
Here's my worry is that they're going to shove in too much nostalgia into it to get other people to watch it virally. Like you would try to get some of the older cast members back. I'm like, no, just start fresh.
Oh, okay.
Kenan Thompson's a producer. You just get a new cast of kids to go off and do sketches. That's all you got to do.
That's what they should. They should go market that thing to kids who watch Nickelodeon.
Yeah, like I don't need like a cameo by.
It's not a show I'm gonna watch, but kids today should have it.
Yeah, what was the name of the gal who did like the news portion? Like
Amanda Bynes?
Lori.
Her, yeah.
Lori Beth or Mary.
Yeah. And it'd be kind of fun to have.
Something.
Yeah, Lori Beth something like. I mean, like I'd love to see her like involved in it in some capacity, but do I need her on like screen every episode?
Danny Trachtenberg is going to pop up. It would actually be kind of cool, or not Danny Trachtenberg.
Tamborelli.
Danny Tamborelli. Danny Trachtenberg is busy.
Yeah,
working on my shit.
11 Cloverfield Lane.
No, he's making the Uncharted movie, man.
Oh, that's right.
Right now.
Yeah.
You know,
until David O. Russell gets
until
it back.
somebody else. You son of a bitch. It would kind of be cool. Like, I could see, you're right. What they would probably end up doing is having some of the original cast pop up every now and then to do, like, a Good Burger sketch or whatever.
No, Kel can't
Partially
do that. He's
just-
hosting a dog show right now that I saw
Partially-
on Sunday morning one day.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Partially just, to get a few nostalgic people to pop in, but
Yeah.
hopefully the rest of the show would be,
Get some sketches in there.
and honestly, I think you could just take some of the old sketches and do them again with a new cast and sell them to kids today, and it'd probably be fun.
Also, keep the original theme song, though. I don't want a dubstep remix of This Is All That.
This is all that. This is all that. Man. Wow.
We should produce music, James.
No. Brad, are you excited to watch your favorite things fight each other in Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, they're animating that comic book that I read.
Yeah?
My only question is, I don't remember Batgirl being in it, and in that photo, she's wearing her modern costume, and then Batman's wearing his 80s stuff,
That's
and then
true.
Robin's in his 90s, 2000s stuff.
Isn't the bold Batman Brave and Bold or whatever it was called? Isn't that sort of what his costume is too? That one from a few years ago that I thought the animation was shitty on.
Well, that was because it was like nostalgic for the 70s and 80s Batman costume.
Sure. Yeah.
It just happened to be a modern show.
I just meant that might be why they picked that
It's
costume.
it's a funnier version.
Well, in the comic, which they're adapting, it's the black costume. So I'm just like,
Oh, I see.
that's weird.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I'll take it. It'll be great.
Batgirl looks cool in that
Even if it's
costume.
terrible, it'll be great.
Was the book good?
It was interesting. Like it's only 6 issues, so it's short.
Maybe they won't even touch the same story you did. Maybe they're just lifting the concept.
Yeah,
and
they
doing
might be.
their own thing.
There's actually like 2 series, so there was like another 6 books that expanded on it, which I haven't read yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they might maybe Batgirl's in that, and they're going to combine all of them. And there's actually a 3rd series coming out this year or next year, so they might do all of them.
Joker.
Because it's like because of Dimension X, they cross over the worlds and all like the Rogues Gallery. Batman's Rogues Gallery interacts with the Turtles Rogues Gallery.
Oh man!
So there's dimension crossing, which might be why
makes
there's
sense.
a different looking Batman.
There's ninjas in both.
Joker,
Oh,
I've
man.
given you unlimited technology.
That'd be cool. Like Batman falls through a portal and ends up going and finding the Batgirl from the modern books.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be cool, yeah, if they kind of
she's in high
like if they
school.
get absolutely
That's dope.
not ridiculous, but like crazy, but like get nuts with this thing. Man.
You know, some kind of multiverse
yeah,
going on.
Batman into the
What a
Batverse.
radical idea.
Batman into the Turtleverse. And then we're gonna end with 2 real quick fantastic news to make things happy.
Okay.
First is that Rian Johnson is still making Star Wars movies, despite how hard the internet tried and Russia tried to defeat him.
This is the times we live in. The internet and Russia tried to stop a man who loves movies from making a movie.
Well, I think in light
Good
of
night,
like
America.
in light of like all of the story around like, hey, we're slowing down on Star Wars movies, and
Yeah.
we canceled the any sequels to Solo,
The
which,
Boba Fett.
yeah, and Boba Fett. I think we all sort of thought like, well, maybe that's getting backburnered or whatever, and he's making Knives Out or releasing Knives Out this fall,
Yeah.
which looks dope.
And we'll win him his Oscar.
So I think that anyway. So there was a tweet this week where Screen Rant basically asked him, and he was like, "No, I'm still working on it. I'm still going to make a trilogy of films. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
Yeah.
And speaking of everything is fine, while we're not necessarily getting a Paddington 3, they are making a cartoon show.
I know, with Ben Whishaw.
It's the same Paddington.
Yeah, exactly.
This is 100% like Paddington. Hey, you know what's better than Paddington 3?
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot more Paddington.
Yeah, so thank you.
More than just an hour of Paddington.
So thank you, Nickelodeon, for saving Henry Jarvis's life.
Yeah, so, I mean, because I will watch this.
And Henry, that fake cancer letter totally worked.
It'll be the first Nickelodeon show I've watched since The Legend of Korra,
Yeah.
which I guess wasn't that long, but still.
They've got fine shows and whatnot.
Did they have I don't know, in the 80s or 90s, like kind of a low budgety animated Paddington?
I don't
like
know.
2D.
I didn't know.
I think that's a thing.
I barely knew anything about Paddington until.
You got IMDb there. You can just type in Paddington and it'll tell you.
Yeah, but it's. doing other things right now.
I can do it then.
No, I'm doing it.
All I remember about Paddington prior to the movies was Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier talking about it as if it was an Ingmar Bergman movie, and it was hilarious.
No.
They called him Station Bear.
I clicked on the character of Paddington, and it didn't take me to the Paddington
Fail.
list.
This is why you fail.
What? And then when you click on the movie for the first Paddington movie,
Yeah, there it is.
Top Build isn't Paddington.
Paddington Bear TV series, 1976 to 1993.
Yeah, probably like a limited animation thing.
Oh, and there's another one, The Adventures of Paddington Bear, 97 to 2013.
Oh shit. That means it was extreme because it was in the late 90s,
and then a TV
early
series
2000s.
from 89 to 90.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of Paddington on TV.
It was called Paddington Evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
It was one where Paddington was in high school.
I'm
shit.
so glad you referenced
And his-
X-Men Evolution.
His mom was what's her face?
I loved X-Men Evolution. I don't
That's
remember a
great.
damn thing about it, but I remember loving it.
Rogue's in that one. Rogue's mom is what's her face?
I don't remember it all.
So
But yeah, but anyway, was that your news?
that was my news.
I wanted to bring up two things really quickly. They're not really sad.
Are they sad?
No, they're not. There are two passings, but they're not sad. Two film archivists died this week, and I wanted to bring attention to them. Ron Hutchison.
This sounds exciting.
Yeah, Ron Hutchison died at 67. He was part of the
That's too
spearhead of the Vitaphone project, which saved a lot of early silent and sound films from the Vitaphone Warner Brothers era, which are the foundation for some of the technology that we now enjoy today. Among those things, Don Juan, the jazz singer, a lot of vaudeville shorts and early cartoons. And also Dave Smith from who founded the Walt Disney Archives died this week as well. These two people saved a lot of the shit you guys love collecting and enjoying and memeing about. So without them, you don't have access to this shit. So that was my big prop because like the Vitaphone stuff means more to me than the Disney stuff does, but it all means something at the end of the day. Like this is stuff you want to, like the unsung heroes of film, the film world are easily the people who preserve it, you know?
Right.
Except for Martin Scorsese, he gets a lot of praise, but he also does that as well. So, and Spielberg too, actually.
He's made a couple good movies.
Lucas did it for a while, and then he decided to stop doing that. But anyway, yeah, Ron Hutchison and Dave Smith, they will be missed.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's news.
Cool.
What have you guys been watching?
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
What have you been watching?
Literally not that much. I've been revisiting. I'm still doing Star Trek Next Generation. I'm almost done with season 3. Yeah, I mean, like this is obviously where everything starts getting great. Although the episode with Troy's mom getting captured by the Ferengi guy and then basically toying with Picard's affections at the end of the episode is still one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen because you get to watch Patrick Stewart do fake acting, which is really hilarious. I think Patrick Stewart's really like his genius is that he's able to play multiple levels in a single scene, and he's pretty damn good at it. So yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying that. I'm almost at the best of both worlds. The Sarek episode is probably my favorite of the rewatch, mainly because I'm such a big TOS fan, and so I like the scene where Patrick Stewart is living in Sarek's mind after the mind meld and talking about all the things Sarek wishes he could say, but he can't because he's a Vulcan and they repress their emotions. So yeah, can't wait to keep going.
Cool.
Get to some Borg shit. The only other two things that I watched though were rewatched a documentary called The Brothers Warner, and it's a documentary by Harry Warner's granddaughter. She made a documentary about the family that
Harrietta Warner.
Harry. No, Cassie Warner Sperling. She made a documentary. I mean, I've seen this a couple times. It's a great doc. I mean, not the most like fancily produced doc, but like for a doc that came in the early 2000s, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of great interviews with people like Roy Disney and Sam Goldwyn Jr. and all that. So George Siegel has a great way of describing Jack Warner. It's pretty fucking hilarious. Probably one of the two most adorable things in the world is Haskell Wexler, noted cinematographer, trying to describe his love for Looney Tune cartoons, and Angela Lansbury teaching me how to speak Yiddish. They're pretty adorable little clips in an otherwise very educational documentary. And then the last thing I rewatched was Forbidden Planet on Blu-ray. which I haven't watched in a long time. I still love the hell out of this movie.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's the foundation for a lot of sci-fi. Like some people will be like, Star Wars just ripped off Star Trek. Well, Star Trek just ripped off Forbidden Planet.
I would adore a remake of Forbidden Planet.
I would too.
I think the idea...
I don't know how you do it.
Well,
but...
you build it off of the creature of id, right?
Yeah.
So you make it a space story.
I don't necessarily need a Morbius character and whatnot.
No.
You could play with the id monster.
You just take the idea of the id monster and build a completely different story around it. That's a cool space epic thing.
Yeah.
You make it like Lost in Space.
Exactly. For anybody who doesn't know Forbidden Planet's story, it stars Detective Frank Drebin, and he's somehow found his way into a spaceship.
Gotcha.
And, but no, it's a group of people in, like, I guess it's the space military.
That was a Naked Gun joke, right?
Yeah, Space Force.
Yeah, okay. I
The
just
Space
want to
Force.
make sure, because Naked Gun, not very good. Forbidden Planet, better movie.
Surely you can't be serious.
Also not a good movie.
No, shut up.
Airplane's
great.
Forbidden Planet might be the only good Leslie Nielsen film.
You're so wrong. Dracula Dead and Loving It, anybody?
Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. Ryan, why aren't you here to defend me? No.
Because he watched too many Leslie Nielsen films and now he's throwing up everywhere.
But anyway, a Space Force lands on a planet. They're supposed to make contact with a guy named Morbius. He doesn't want to go with them.
He might be evil.
Yeah,
his name's Morbius.
He might be evil, but you'll have to watch the movie and find out. And meanwhile, also watch all of his officers hit on Morbius's hot daughter. But
this is my hot daughter. She's going to follow us around while I give you a tour.
Like one of them's trying to say, like, a kissing is good for things. Like, well, let's try it. They kiss him once. How about one more time? How about one more time? And then cut to the next scene. Like talking to Leslie Nielsen, going like, "Well, why haven't you kissed me? Everybody else on the crew has kissed me." I'm like, "Damn it!" And also Robbie the Robot is an amazing creation for cinema. There's a great little doc on the Blu-ray about Robbie the Robot, how he's constructed, what he's constructed of, and how fanboys have taken that way too far. And it's pretty awesome. Like, so one made one out of microprocessors. That's pretty damn cool.
He's one of the coolest looking. Maybe the coolest looking piece of like classic sci-fi design.
Yeah, it's because it's the first time a robot in cinema history looks like a robot and like feels real and doesn't look like cardboard crap. And the God, that Blu-ray is fucking amazing. They have an additional feature that starred Robbie the Robot. Has Robbie the Robot meets a little kid or something like that. It's called The Invisible Boy or something like that. I haven't watched it yet, but I plan on watching it at some point. But there's also an episode of the Thin Man TV show where inexplicably Robbie the Robot needs help from the Thin Man or the Thin Man detective Nick Charles solving a mystery. I don't know how Dashiell Hammett ever figured that into one of his novels, but yeah, no. I mean, Forbidden Planet is great. That Blu-ray looks amazing on that player. The soundtrack, where it's just the tonalities, is some of the most. It's still some of the most beautiful. It's the foundation for a lot of electronica music and electronica scores we enjoy today.
I remember making fun of the score to that movie so hard when I first saw it.
But
I mean, making fun is a strong word, but but you listen to it and you're just like, I can remember standing in my parents' kitchen and like watching that movie on TV.
Yeah,
and joking with my dad like, what is this sound? Like, what is it supposed to be? Like, because it's kind of diegetic. Like, it's not really, but it's like when they're in the factory, things sound a certain way, and so it's almost
like these drip drop effects, but they're not quite drip.
Right? Yeah. It's super weird.
What sucks is like, so we have a lot of stuff on Ben Burt making the sounds for Star Wars. There's very little in here about how. Those two, they're a husband and wife team, made the tonalities. They just talk about what they did and how they couldn't get a score credit because the musicians' unions didn't consider it music, which is BS in my opinion.
Right.
Only because, like, I mean, if I were to isolate that soundtrack and get it on iTunes, which I'm really compelled to do, I would fall asleep to that because it's very peaceful.
It is, yeah. It's a cool, again, like a quintessential piece of science fiction.
Yeah, it's almost like the sci-fi version of what Carter Burwell does for No Country for Old Men, where it's just tones.
Yeah.
You know.
I also have the poster for that hanging at our house
nice.
because I've had it for years, and I remember when I first hung it up when I don't know, in college, something like that.
Right.
And I was living at home at the time, and my mom saw it and was like, "That's not the real poster, is it?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, that's a really risque poster. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way posters work.
That's how you got the kids in to
That's
see it,
part of what's so fun about it is like, is that a dope-ass robot holding a pretty much naked woman on the cover of that poster? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But it's a misleading poster because Robbie the Robot would never harm a human.
Right.
But also, like, just in general on that film, though, like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, Walter Pidgeon is probably, after rewatching this, I've just tried to conclude this in my head, probably one of the best non-traditionally horror sci-fi actors ever to star in one of these kind of projects because he sells it so damn well. And I think the fact that MGM's putting a lot of prestige behind the picture helps it, even though it's one of their low-end things at the time. But Pidgeon fucking sells Morbius, man. He fucking sells that role so hardcore. In an age where people of Pidgeon's age were probably like, what the fuck is a spaceship? You know, like, it's pretty damn amazing. So yeah, Forbidden Planet. Cool. And that's all I watched this week.
Cool. Brad?
First thing I watched was another VHS documentary called VHS Massacre, which is more from like a trauma perspective of basically what I watched, I think, last week or the week before. I forget what that VHS documentary was called.
Like the Rewind or whatever.
Was it Rewind This? I think it was Rewind This.
Yeah, Rewind This, I think is the one you did.
It was like more of a low-budget version of that. Because it follows, like, I think 3 guys who also do a podcast about VHS. And
we should stop them.
So is there an underground, like, appreciation for VHS?
Oh, yeah.
They're aware that it's like a completely inferior way to watch pretty much everything.
Yeah,
Brad, I'll kill them.
No, both documentaries bring that up for sure.
Okay.
But
because it's not like vinyl where you could make the argument of like, no, man, it sounds so great.
But there is still, especially with like horror movies, there's still something about like the low quality makes the horror movies. You're not a fan of horror movies, so you won't appreciate it. But the lower quality
that makes sense.
Makes the horror just, and I see this too when I watch it. Like it just feels like
wrong.
More like
dirty.
More voyeuristic
in
the quality, so it's less of like a cinematic experience and more of like just raw scares and horror
and I can see how the quality of the picture allows you to fill it in a little bit better, right? Like you're not going to see
hides
it
all the bad effects too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean that I think is a great argument. And to be clear, I'm a guy who, you know, loves the Stranger Things packaging, still has his VHS copy of Star Wars from when he was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I have some of those as display items, but I would never put in a VHS copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark in order to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
In full frame.
No.
In full frame. Yeah, exactly.
Here's the way I best describe it. Former guest on the show, Matt Willix, he and I, when we were in film school, one Halloween, we put Salem's Lot in a VHS player that was conveniently like cross cable hookup to an HD TV, and because it's not upscaling anything because it's just literally feeding off the image. It got the same. We got the same image that we would have gotten out of a tube TV.
Sure,
and it looked amazing in terms of. This is how we would have watched Salem's Lot if we had snuck it out of the library or at the VHS store.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is a tangible sense of nostalgia attached to it, too, and in addition to the voyeuristic aspect.
And also, VHS probably has the most titles of any format.
Sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of those have been lost to time because they weren't profitable, so they didn't make the jump to DVD or Blu-ray. So that's another thing, like all these lost indie... Like when VHS first came out, like mom and pop stores needed anything to fill the shelves.
Yeah.
And then eventually Blockbuster and the studios, you know, they're late to the game, but they have the most money to take it over. And so they forced all those titles out. So there's just like all these lost titles that are these, you know, low budget gems. And that's what the collector's market is for.
That's cool.
They go around finding all these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But it's not people who are like, oh man, I got this copy of Groundhog's Day that I watch all the time on VHS.
Both documentaries I watched, they've all pointed out that like wherever you go, there's always a copy of the 2-pack of Titanic.
That's the most.
I bet.
Garage sales, Arc, Goodwill, they all.
I see that. Sometimes I see the rare special edition versions in the blue packaging.
Even Fellowship of the Ring got a 2-pack.
No, it's only a 1 VHS.
No,
you know, I know that because I've seen it multiple times in my store.
But I'm pretty sure I've seen a 2-pack version of it.
Do you want to trust the man who works at the thrift store?
I certainly can't believe they ever made 2 versions of it. So,
I will say though, like within that VHS realm, like that's how we get Charlie Band movies, like fucking Puppet Master and shit like that. But like also like a lot of those classic films that Ryan and I adore so much, and you do, and you guys do too as well.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Like they master, like you said, so many titles. Like there are titles that you can still only get on VHS,
sure,
or find a film print at a film school somewhere in USC.
The Disney Channel original film Brink is only available on VHS.
No, I made sure those were all put in a fire.
It's on digital now. I think I saw it on Prime or something.
Yeah. But I can't get a Blu-ray. What I want is a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I want a piece of real material to hold in my hand.
Maybe I saw it in the Disney store, like the points rewards.
All right, I'm gonna check.
Or you could go to the mall from 20 years ago.
Anyway, back to the documentary I watched. So there's interviews with like Lloyd Kaufman, Greg Sestero has a thing in there. Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they're finding like the first VHS copy of the dub of the South Park Christmas special.
Right.
So those things are interesting, but all of those interviews about like all the different aspects of the industry, like porn making VHS, you know, the top format, Netflix taking over. They go through a lot like Rewind This, but just like lower quality filmmaking. And then that's all surrounded by them going to different stores and trying to track down what they want, because their goal is to each find a video. And it's called what a VHS massacre is. Each of the people in the podcast are going to pick one thing and then force the others to watch it and critique and stuff. So, but then they go to these VHS stores, and like, you know, at the end of the segment, they're like, this famous store in New York is now closed 6 months after we did the documentary because, you know, they obviously property ownership in New York is super expensive, but it's a dying brand. So
that's actually seems like I want to watch that one over the Rewind This one.
Yeah,
to be honest, because it seems more like homegrown a little bit. Like it's like that going attractions thing. At the drive-in,
it's like the same. It's like the same documentary as Rewind This, but like less research, less exposure, and less. You know, it's more like a student made one than Rewind This, where it's like felt like very much like a South by Southwest,
right?
Submission. That's about that. But they also showed like there's still some fans of VHS that have open stores that still succeed. Obviously, Scarecrow Video, in Seattle and stuff like that.
And you have plenty of places you can find this stuff.
Yeah, it makes me want to open my own. But again, probably not the best time to do it in Denver.
That's less enthusiastic than Randall was about wanting to buy the Quick Stop himself, man.
I'd buy an old AT&T store and turn to a VHS store and do it by ourselves.
We'll do it. We got the money.
The next thing I watched for the first time was Logan's Run.
Ooh. Wow. Heck yeah.
Speaking of sci-fi classics.
Yeah, that's actually Logan's Run is a sci-fi classic.
It is,
yeah. Story-wise, it's okay.
It's very 70s.
Yeah, very 70s. The only thing I really enjoyed was just like the 70s production design. HD obviously hurts it because the whole I guess bubble they live in is just a model.
Yeah.
So you see all these it's like a train model. So you just see little fake trees and
see all the
lines. It's like the beginning of MST3K.
Or like the beginning of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah. They actually live in a futuristic version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Hello, neighbor. Are you over 30?
And the concept is
I
great.
I love children, but no one else.
And it's an interesting concept of this society that's kind of lost touch with what it means to be human.
Yeah.
But once they leave the bubble that they live in, and they just kind of like, oh, here's, we used to bury people in the ground, and they just didn't go up in the whatever, I forget what they call it, but they don't get claimed by the whatever thing they made up to like.
It's called Zalem.
Zalem?
No.
Okay. Oh, because the movie we watched today. But yeah, Logan's. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Logan's Run is about this futuristic society where when you turn the age of 30, you have to just die, and people are really proud of that. So they all have like a big old ceremony for it, and a bunch of people line up in a circle, and they get sucked into the ceiling, and everyone treats it like they've gone on to a better place, the place we're all intended to go, when really they're just being like frozen and stored in a warehouse in the bubble somewhere.
Yep.
And people are starting to figure that out. And so there's like this rogue faction, and the computer that kind of decides how everyone lives perfectly in this youthful world sends Logan on a mission to infiltrate that society and eradicate them. But they also fuck him over by accelerating his life. Yep. So he has incentive to help these people and screw over the machine that's ruining his life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they expose everything. And it's a great sci-fi concept, but it's long and really just like this production design is all that really like.
So is this
captured my imagination?
Is this one of the only like 70s like weird out there sci-fi films you've seen like in terms of that kind of like concept? Like have you seen Soylent Green or fucking like? I want to know what you think of Soylent Green.
It's pervasive enough in pop culture that I'm like, Soylent Green is people. Yeah. Movie's over. All right.
What? But the movie itself is pretty awesome.
It's like. And I was going to make this comment anyway, but it's like there's this whole genre of sci-fi films from that time that are like single sentence pitch sci-fi films.
Yeah.
And the problem with them is that it's like, oh, Logan's Run. Like, well, oh, man, what if when you turn 30, they just killed you?
Yeah.
And then that's sort of it. Yeah. Like, it's not like you don't walk away and you're like, oh, man, that movie was really cool and had a lot of stuff going on. And like it, it's just an easy sort of a quick pitch that I never feel like a lot of them don't really go anywhere.
It's almost like they're so of their time that they've become too much of a joke. But like, I'm serious. I would love to know what you think of Soylent Green if you ever decide to watch it, because it's interesting. And I think other than Planet of the Apes, it's my favorite Charlton Heston movie.
You haven't seen Planet of the Apes either. The Tim Burton one. So, but again,
no, that's not real. That's a lie. You watched a lie, is what
and sure,
you
know the ending, but
yeah. I watched part of it at Starfest last year, and I was like, what else can I do?
First 20 minutes
where they're walking through the desert.
It's
like,
so fucking...
Those are great things.
No, it's not. So I remember watching Planet of the Apes, and Planet of the Apes is great if you could just skip the first 20 minutes.
You're so wrong.
I'm not. They walk through the fucking desert forever.
Because you got to get to know those characters. You got to know why Taylor's upset.
I also saw 2001 for the first time last year, and so it just reminded me of like the monkey part of 2001.
Sure.
Where I was like,
that makes sense.
I think they're the same year, actually.
They're the same things going on.
When
a lot of desert stuff.
Me and my dad and my brother watched Planet of the Apes for at least what was my brother and my first time. I was probably 9 or 10.
Right.
So we started watching it, and we're in that first 15 to 20 minutes, and we paused it, to go get popcorn or something, and we sort of made a joke about like, man, this is super boring. And even my dad was like, I don't remember it being this fucking terrible. Like, it's just not fun to watch. And my brother went and got some black construction paper and cut out the MST3K guys and taped it to the front of the TV, and we watched the rest of Planet of the Apes that way, because that's what the beginning of Planet of the Apes feels like. That, and then those guys, they got moved down a little bit so they weren't quite so obvious, but those little guys were on our family TV for 10 years.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I want to do that when I get home.
Like, we watched everything with the little MST3K guys sitting in front of it. But it was because of the beginning of Planet of the Apes. It's that bad. But you should watch it. I think the rest of it is actually good, fun sci-fi. But
if the Esquire opens up and they program it as a midnight,
you will definitely fall asleep before it gets good.
So I'm gonna. So my 29th. I can't do it this year, but my 29th birthday, I'm gonna screen Planet of the Apes at the Alamo with private screening.
Shoot!
Oh
wait, what weekend is that? I think I'm out of town.
It's a year from now, James.
No, I don't think I'm.
But
they're making Rod Serling cry.
They've been talking about remaking Logan's Runs for years, and I think you could totally do it. And combine it with some other additional premise.
You can't make it too big budget, though. I think you gotta work within the same parameters they probably would have, in terms of financial, because Logan's Run wasn't made for a huge budget back then. I don't think.
No, but you got to make it for a big enough. It's not Alita, but you got to make it.
The sets in that movie, they were huge.
Yeah,
so
you
the
gotta
budget
give it
probably was big.
You got to give it an Edge of Tomorrow budget.
That's fair.
And they have a ton of extras too.
Yeah. Shoot, who was it? It was the guy who created Irrational Games. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember his name. But the guy who wrote BioShock and BioShock Infinite was actually tasked with rewriting that film.
Really?
And then it got canned, which would have been great if anyone could do it. That guy could make that idea.
I'd love
cool.
to see it, and I would love to. It's a good concept, or it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
It's one you can fiddle around with.
Yeah, you just got to go to the core of that idea and dig something out that's actually worthwhile. So.
Right. But anyway, I'm glad you liked it.
Cool.
At least. Enjoyed it enough.
I enjoyed the production design.
Yeah. You can check that box off.
Yeah. Shoot.
Would you tell Corinne to watch
it? Yeah, Colin Firth's not in it, so I'm not sure it would go over well. The other thing I watched was I finally watched They Shall Not Grow Old.
Oh, cool.
Which is Peter Jackson's documentary about World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interesting watch. For the first, I think, half an hour, they tease you with we colorized all this footage, and the first half hour is standard frame black and white. And I'm like, did
I see the wrong one?
Yeah, did I just get punked? What?
You just have Peter Jackson up in the projection going hey, Bradley's nervous. He doesn't think it's actually going to happen. Watch this, Bradley.
But then the last 2/3 are the screen gets wider and the saturation comes in and the colorized and
food you didn't know.
It's really not about World War I so much as it's about the people in the photographs. It's not the people in the photographs, but people representing the people in the photographs, because
the soldiers and
So, and it's cool. It starts out with Peter Jackson actually comes on screen and talks about the project. Mm-hmm. And he says, "Hey, stay after the credits, and you'll get to see how we did it." And then, so the BBC Archives has all these interviews with veterans from that day, and then all the footage. And he said, "Hey, Peter Jackson, can you make something out of this? Because it's here and it's just sitting here, and we'd like to make it relevant." And he's like, "I don't have any idea. I don't know what I'd do with this." And then he came up with the idea of colorizing and everything. And so, and then they were originally it was just going to be the footage. And then they're like, "Oh, this needs something else." And then that's when they got the recordings of the interviews of people talking about their experience in that time. And so they layer that over the thing. So it's just cutting between different men just talking about their experience. And it's all about the most mundane things of being in the experience. They talk about down to the uniforms and what they had to eat and the disease and the rat infestations in the trenches and
what do you do when you have time off? What do you do?
Yeah,
all that different stuff. And I can't remember
just existing in that space.
Yeah, and I can't remember how many hours of audio recording they had to go through, because obviously the footage is extensive, but something in the realm of 600 hours or something like that they had to parse down to 40 hours, and then you start cutting from there
and finding the story.
It's fucking insane.
So if you're looking for what were the missions and what was the strategy and who was fighting who, it's really just the British versus the Germans, and this is what it was like to see your friend's head explode next to you.
Yeah.
Or living with having to take, I forget what it was, but because you got mustard gassed, and if you didn't have a gas mask, you just had to throw some kind of cloth over your face.
Yeah.
And suffer and.
Because even that wasn't going to stop you, because it's insane chemical warfare.
Yeah. And how to use a bayonet on someone's shoulder was the preferred way to fight.
Yeah.
like the most painful. Like you'd think it would be the stomach or something, but it's actually the shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they show in graphic detail all the gruesome effects of all those things, and then the arrival of tanks, and how, and also like the fear of just like you just hear cannons go off, and sometimes it would explode in the sky and the shrapnel would come down and hit everyone in the trench.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to like hit a target. You just had to float like a.
Yeah, you just had to get some deadly shit
in the in the area and
you just had
wipe
to
out.
exist in a certain space.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, the last like after the film is finished, when he's talking about it, and he actually goes to one of the locations of where one of the photographs and pieces of footage is there. He's like that. This in-trench area is the same as it was 100 years ago. Like you look at the footage he's walking down on, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's the fucking same thing. And I love it. Like I really need to go see it again. I think it's probably already gone at this point, but
yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad I got to see it at some point. So.
And I saw it in 3D too.
Look pretty good in 3D.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, compared to, did you guys see Alita in 3D?
No, we
just
didn't.
2D. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little cardboard cutouty, but I mean, what can you do?
I think that's inherent with the footage he's using.
I would almost feel like I would want it to be, just because it's old photo,
But even some places, it still looks like they rounded out, like, so there's depth to it. So it's a pretty impressive thing. And then also it managed to actually build to like a climax, so you feel like there's like an action set piece at the end, but it's all done through these like the war propaganda magazine sketches of the battles, because they didn't have photographers in like close-up battle stuff. So
right.
But it was cool that they figured that a way to do that, so it felt like the documentary was actually like a cinematic movie where it was building to a climax. And
the sound design in that moment, like, it stressed me the fuck out when I was watching it, but then you sit in it and it's impactful, and also his justification for colorizing that footage is the best argument I've ever heard for altering footage like that, and I believe it. I believe it's absolutely of merit. I mean, because it doesn't disrespect the footage that they're shooting and whatnot, and it actually provides.
Probably makes it feel more real, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, it's because his argument, which is brilliant, is if they were in that, if the war photographers of that era had the choice between color and black and white, they were gonna choose color because that would have been what they'd want to show realism for their propaganda.
Fair, right? It's not an artistic choice.
Yeah, it's not
technical limitations.
Yeah, it's not like fucking F.W. Murnau was down in the trenches going like, no, it has to show shadow and contrast.
Right. So it's like. Spielberg didn't, start making his Lincoln film and go, no, all the characters need to be painted. I don't.
It was also cool to see, like, I didn't know he had a tremendous World War I memorabilia collection. So when they're trying to source, like, well, what was the color of these uniforms, they would get uniforms out of his collection and, like, source that exact color, because I forget what he was talking about, but it seems like these things like would be obvious, like the color of grass would just be green, but not really. It's more of a yellow and stuff, and the cannons, like there's not a source library for some of these sounds, so he has one of the cannons, so he has the sound people really go out and like move all the levers and stuff, so everything you're listening to in the documentary is authentic. It's not just like this made up, like they would do for Star Wars, like make up a sound. It's all the real stuff. So
yeah, let me just look in my closet. I'll see if I've got all that stuff we need. Peter Jackson.
I thought you were Taika Waititi. I couldn't figure it out.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, man. Like, it's really great.
I think that's it. I watched the first Ninja Turtles a lot, like on repeat, because it was on Prime and it was just easy to Then
were they heroes in a half shell?
Turtle Power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they meet Vanilla Ice?
No.
And I saw the Lego Movie again.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
everything was awesome.
The second one
still awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The second part. Yeah.
Oh, the second part. Everything's not awesome.
Yeah, those are pretty high.
Which it's sad that people didn't go see it.
Yeah, shoot, I know that box office looked dismal, man.
So,
maybe they made too many Lego movies.
Mm-hmm.
But this is
maybe
the one
that
was everyone's favorite based on.
Maybe people went to go see.
Wore it out.
Maybe unfortunately
the
people
fourth
went to go
one.
see Glass instead.
No.
That made $100 million in this nation.
No, I just mean like, I didn't even go see. There are a few people in the world who love Lego as much as me, and I didn't even go see that Ninjago movie. Like,
You should have. It's funny.
no, I'm sure, yeah. But I totally get people being worn out on it. They probably should have not made the Batman movie either. But either way, I mean, they were fine. They're good. But cool. So only a couple of things. After getting back from Alita, like Saturday morning, for whatever reason, partially because it was just on Amazon Prime, I rewatched both of the Matrix sequels. Didn't watch the first one. Was just like, are these still what I remember? And they are. Like, there's some cool stuff. What's interesting is I think the stuff that has aged well is all the shit that I think so many people hated at the time, and all the shit that hasn't aged well is all of the action.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, even the good fight scenes, like the Merovingian fight in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's got some issues.
Even that, you look at it and kind of go like, this is just a dance. Like, it's not. It doesn't hold up as well as
it's wire.
It's wire food that feels like wire. It's wire food that feels like, the dragon sword, the hidden tiger,
crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
Yeah. It feels like those. It doesn't feel like the original Matrix wire food.
Yeah.
You know, which those fights still feel kind of brawly.
Yeah, watch them back to back and you realize that there's more choreography in them, mainly because they can fiddle with that technology. But
right.
But the stuff, as you said, that people complained about at the time, that is really good. Like, I love the architect stuff. At the end.
Absolutely.
The architect
I
stuff's
think
brilliant.
The big philosophy stuff is good. So, like the scene with the architect, that kind of stuff. Those sort of very anime-esque conversations about power and really like elevating the whole idea of the Matrix. That stuff is still really good. The quippy, stupid philosophy moments are not. So like the moments where, you know, basically everything that Morpheus ever says in either of those films is complete dog shit. It's somebody who like gets all of their philosophy from the cover of a textbook. Like that's what it feels like.
It's interesting to see his devolution down the series of the films.
Yeah,
like because by the third film he becomes a like a man in disbelief, and it's pretty interesting to watch. But that's only based on the setup that they've constructed.
He also becomes like the least important.
Well, yeah, because it's all about Neo.
Nothing like nothing. Yeah, it's just.
I would love more time with him.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean the third, and I think the third film's got like, of all the sequels, it's got the biggest problems in just like how they choose to approach certain things. But
yeah, Reloaded is still
the better
pretty
sequel.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say like all three of them suggest like, and like, I was listening to Blank Check about this, and they were correct. Like the Wachowskis are way fucking ahead of their time every time they make a fucking movie. Like straight up, like if not seen right away, we'll see it eventually. Like Speed Racer is a masterpiece that we overlooked in 2008, and we kind of saw evidence of what Speed Racer was able to accomplish this week with Alita, because of just like the visual stylization and grace.
Yeah, I think the difference is that like Speed Racer is a movie that's honestly made to serve an audience that probably isn't big enough for its budget.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
that movie was gonna bomb no matter what.
Speed Racer is a movie made for kids who liked Speed Racer and want that very tongue-in-cheek, silly, this shit isn't gonna make sense, let's move on, this will be fun. And then it takes itself so self-serious that to anybody who wasn't a Speed Racer fan, you think it's supposed to be serious when you don't realize that actually it's just that it was poorly written dumb shit, and that you should actually just be having fun with the fact that someone has a catapult that shoots bees. And like if they had sold the movie and pitched the movie as there's a guy who's got a catapult that shoots bees, you might be like, oh shit, man, I gotta see a bee catapult. Yeah. But instead you're like, oh man, this is a speed. He's a racer. He's gonna.
I would just say rewatch it. That's all I'd say.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
yeah.
Anyway, Matrix sequels though.
Watch those. Also was actually just finishing rewatching Solo before I came here and realized that I think that movie is actually great, and I forgot when you watch it second or third time. You know, when we saw it in theaters and we talked about it, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a little anthology of like these little stories. I didn't realize, like, as you rewatch it, you realize that actually there is one complete arc happening here. You just don't see how it all ties together until it's over, and you go like, oh, right, like those people, like that scene that you thought was just sort of a random heist scene is actually introducing this bigger thing about a rebellion and all of this stuff, but you don't know it until later. And like, as that stuff sort of ties together, but I feel really good about it right now, still having about 5 minutes left in the film when I get home, which are the 5 minutes with that guy in it.
Yeah.
So I might feel worse when I go to bed. But right now I'm like, oh yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah.
And then I also started watching The Umbrella Academy, which is the Netflix adaptation of the comic book series from that dude from My Chemical Romance.
Gerard Way.
Yeah, and it's weird. I don't know that I love it. I don't know. I feel very disconnected from it. Like, I'm just not interested. And I don't know if that's just a me thing or if it's that I don't really appreciate the way they're telling the story. Partially because it feels very... They've made it more real and gritty than I remember the comic being when I read it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't... but anyway, the premise is that there's this... there's a bunch of kids who are miraculously born on a single day. We don't actually know how many, but there's 8, I think, that this guy adopts. We're literally like the show starts with this woman who's not pregnant, and she's flirting with this guy, and she jumps in a pool, and when she pops her head back up, she is actively giving birth to a baby. Like, some weird miraculous thing has happened, and so all of these people who are spontaneously birthed into the world all kind of have magical powers. So this like really rich guy goes in and basically buys or adopts, but really just buys them off of the parents, and has sort of this like superhero squad that
so
he
it's
raises.
Like Village of the Damned meets X-Men.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they all hate him because he's not a very good father, because he's really just taking advantage of them for their crazy powers.
Meets parental abuse. Gotcha.
Yeah. And the show starts with the dad has just died, and they don't quite know, like, well, why did he die? And there's sort of there's a certain sense of like Watchmen-esque stuff going on, because there's the murder mystery, and then there's also one of the kids has some time travel-y powers, and he comes back from the future and is like, the world's gonna explode in 8 days. You know all of this by like the end of the first episode. And so I'm just kind of, I don't know. I might keep watching it. I might not. I don't know. But if the premise sounds good, you should check it out for yourself, because I can't say that it just might not be for me right now. So
I got 4 more Star Trek shows to watch, so I'll be fine for a while.
But anyway, that's pretty much everything for me. So.
Cool, right on.
Blu-rays.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Overlord is coming out
this
week on 4K.
Right on. Some Nazi hunting. Love it. Zombie Nazi hunting.
As well as the 2018 remake of A Star is Born.
Oh, right on. I like that movie.
So
Am I the only one here who's seen it?
Probably.
Oh, right on. Shallow's a good song.
Is that the song?
That's the song that's going to win Lady Gaga an Oscar on Sunday.
I'm sure. Yeah. Didn't she already win one?
No. She lost it that year to Common and John Legend.
Oh, she should have. That was good.
Okay.
Tracy Lords and Ted Raimi are in a movie this week called Skinner. From Severin.
Sweet.
So
I love both those people.
Do you? Okay, maybe you do. Sure,
Tracy Lords is hilarious in Crybaby and Zack and Miri.
True.
So her name Bubbles.
her name Bubbles. No, nobody cares about that. Return to the Vampire is out this week from Shout, which is the Bela Lugosi vampire movie.
Help me,
where he's not Dracula in that one, right?
No, he's. I can't remember. It's It's one of many things they found for him to do until he went back to Universal for some other project. I can't remember where it falls in everything else, but it's. We're gonna get another Bela Lugosi collection along with Boris Karloff collection later this year that I'm more excited about because it's gonna be their team up movies. And so we're gonna get Black Cat, The Invisible Ray, and The Raven, and it's gonna be amazing. And I'm just gonna isolate myself and we'll rewatch them over and over again.
Cool. I opened these in the order they were on Blu-ray.com, so that's why.
Yeah.
Strangely out of order is the Robin Hood movie on 4K.
Your Robin Hood.
I would have thought was still in theaters.
I've heard this is so bad that I want to watch it just to see how bad it is.
Is it really?
I have a compulsion to watch something that looked that ridiculous on the trailer, but I had no interest in paying for it at the theater.
Yeah.
But if I can find it for like 99-cent a rental, hell yeah, I'll spend $1.
I can't actually tell if this is all of season 11 of Doctor Who that's out on Blu-ray this week, or if it's just a special called Resolution, because it says season 11, but then it's called Doctor Who : Resolution. I don't know. Either way,
there's a lot of Doctor Who.
If you're into Doctor Who, you should check it out. I should check this one out because with the new Doctor is a new showrunner, which is the most exciting thing about Doctor Who for me in a while.
Yeah, Moffat's gone.
So, so I might actually check that out. Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, and Bill Murray in Mad Dog and Glory, which is a movie I've never heard of.
I've seen it once.
It's out from Blu-ray.
And I don't know if that's all I need or not.
Also from Kino Lorber is Youngblood with Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze, which has the most late 80s cover ever. I say this, it's the what's that music video? It's the Aha video. It's just that animation but on a cover.
Okay, right on.
From Twilight Time is a limited release of Talk Radio, which I only put on here because it had the word radio on it.
Have you ever seen the movie?
No.
It's interesting.
Gotcha.
It's strangely relevant, but I don't even know if I'd rewatch it.
Also we'll
talk about it later.
Sure. Will we?
Probably not.
Also from Twilight Time is a limited to 3,000 release of the 1967 Bedazzled. Which doesn't have Brendan Fraser in it, so why would anyone watch it?
Or Elizabeth Hurley.
And
your strange Instagram.
From Troma this week is Revenge of the Spacemen.
Oh, those spacemen get revenge?
Looks like a good old sci-fi movie, but then I know it's not because it's from Troma.
It looks like something Lloyd Kaufman produced.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. But I saved the best for last.
Uh-oh.
Which is from Mill Creek Entertainment, which I don't know that I've ever heard of.
Oh, they put out a lot of the Miramax and Weinstein stuff when they were trying to make the transition to Blu-ray and lost their holdings.
And those VHS cover things like Last Action Hero and Silent Rage we've talked
really?
about. Yeah.
Oh, they're
cool.
Mill Creek's doing those?
Yeah.
Oh shit, fucking nice.
Well, this week, they're putting out a Blu-ray edition. No laws, no limits, no turning back. Barbed Wire. If you want to see Pamela Anderson's Barbed Wire, you not just see it. If you would like to own Barbed Wire, you can.
The movie that drew too much attention away from properly marketing and releasing the Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie. No, thank you. I will not give Barbed Wire any fucking money.
But it's a movie.
But it might be hilarious to watch it again.
But it's a movie based on a tattoo that she already had.
Yeah. Do we talk about Pamela Anderson anymore?
No, but like,
so like,
can you think of a movie spawned for a dumber reason than we want to make a movie about Pamela Anderson? What do we call it? She has a barbed wire tattoo. Maybe we should call it Barbed Wire.
I want to make a movie where we replace most of somebody's face. Oh, let's make Alita.
It's also technically barbed wire.
Yeah.
So it's anyway.
It's a movie that existed and bankrupted a studio.
But now you can give them, your $15.
Please
whatever.
don't.
What is it? It's oh my god! It is $8.79 on Amazon.
Okay, fine.
You can get it for less than $9.
I guess if you want it on your shelf to impress people, which if that's going to impress people, then I don't want to live on the planet anymore.
A Blu-ray of Barbed Wire costs less than a burrito.
Where are you getting your burritos, man?
Yeah, wait, from
At
where?
a Qdoba.
Oh, is that where
a
you
regular
also,
Qdoba burrito?
Is that where you also
Yeah.
get a $9 cup of coffee,
I'm not
millennial?
I'm not talking about some like. Well, okay, all right. To be fair, it's a queso burrito. But if you're going to Qdoba, why aren't you getting the queso?
Who's your burrito guy? Talk to me. I'll get you.
Yeah.
Oh, you got
I'll hook you up.
I could
if you give me some fucking like $1 McDonald's sausage burritos, I'm gonna punch you in the neck. It's not a burrito.
How about a $3?
We wrap them in the Chipotle foil.
How about a $3 7-Eleven burrito?
Oh, I'd actually rather have the $1 McDonald's burrito.
No, that's how you sabotage a day of his. Like, if you want to give him the shits, you'd get that.
Oh
shit
my
from
god!
7-Eleven.
It all comes back. We know what Ryan did.
Told you, Ryan. Don't go into 7-Eleven for food.
This week,
We
went and saw Alita, Battle Angel.
Yeah.
Brad, should people see Alita Battle Angel?
I'm gonna say yes. It's really I'm mostly impressed by the technical aspect of it. It's definitely a technical achievement. It's the CGI still resides in the uncanny valley a lot of times.
Yeah.
But what impressed me most is that how well the CGI interacts with real things.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
more so than other movies where it feels like they just throw a drop shadow on some live action thing and it feels like it's interacting with the CGI. Here it feels like they're really like Christoph Waltz is touching
I didn't even
Alita.
think about it until you said that. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I forget there was a specific point in the movie where I noticed like, wow, it's like
Yeah.
it really feels like she's holding it or it's holding her.
Huh.
Wow. So that's probably the most impressive part. Dialogue is pretty cringy. A lot of
James Cameron, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, a lot of trite cliche stuff. And the story, I had watched the anime, so there wasn't a lot of surprise to it.
Oh shit!
So the motorball, I think, is from the manga.
Yes.
So that
Right.
was the newest
Which
part of it.
I had only learned. So I learned from my brother afterwards that the anime got canceled after what is essentially the second book. And so when you said like, because you had mentioned earlier after seeing the trailer, you were like, I don't remember Rollerball being in there, and I was like, dude, that's like a defining thing about Alita is Motorball. But now it makes sense. If you had watched the anime, I didn't know that was true, that they had gotten canned after 2 books, basically. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say see it just for the technical marvel of it. Like it's still quite an achievement. It's story is just kind of meh. And unfortunately, it has a cliffhanger. So they're expecting to make more of these. And I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know.
Like the most interesting thing is the end to me. Yeah.
Okay. Zach, should people see Alita, Battle Angel?
What did I think of Elysium for kids?
For kids?
I don't know.
You know, for kids.
There's a dead dog in this movie. Is it for kids?
Oh my God. Hey, it's off screen.
They seem to all be having fun.
All the blood is blue, so it's for
and-
kids.
And at the end of the day, aren't kids' movies supposed to be fun?
Right.
No, yeah. Actually, I would. So far, this is the best movie I've seen this year, which is not saying much. So I
Which
love
movies have you seen? I'll hook you up.
Glass. But no, I mean, I enjoyed it enough. I'm probably the only one in here who's never even fucking heard of Alita Battle Angel, and I'm not an anime guy. I watch various different anime things whenever the fuck I feel like it, but it's not anything consistent. So this film, like, surprised me in how much I was enthralled and entertained by it. Visually stunning. I think the performances are fun for this fun sci-fi romp. I think that it's interestingly approached with the direction because it kind of blends 2 very popular filmmakers' styles together in an interesting way. And I think this is one of the most interesting eclectic casts in a movie I've seen in a while. Like some people who I did not expect to intermingle with others intermingle in this film, and it's pretty fascinating.
Well, he just stands there.
No. I'm actually talking about other people. We'll get to it later.
Yeah.
But no, and I think it's fun. I think if you're looking for a fun little roller coaster ride in February, you could do worse. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of like Rampage was last year before Infinity War.
Wow.
But this is a good placeholder before I get Captain Marvel.
It's just mean.
But I mean, I enjoyed it enough that I would want a sequel. To be honest, I want to follow this adventure a little bit more, mainly so I don't have to read another book. But no, I will totally read that manga now because I've only read one other manga in my life. So
you like this more than They Shall Grow Old or the Lego Movie?
Well, They Shall Not Grow Old is a 2018 movie, so that doesn't count.
And he actually saw it in 2018.
No, I didn't. I saw it
Didn't you?
in 2019. But
okay. Well, then now you're splitting hairs. Okay.
Okay, but and also Lego Movie 2 is fine, but like I also kind of like
it's no Alita.
I enjoyed Alita's like not originality, but like it's something different, and it wasn't based on something I was too familiar with, so that kind of helped that idea. But anyway, we go check it out. And also at this year's Denver Pop Culture Comic Con, I will be cosplaying as Christoph Waltz, throwing around a giant rocket axe. It's going to be awesome, guys. Check it out.
Okay, but I require that you actually have the little mark in your forehead, and I will bring a Sharpie and draw it.
But I didn't have that in the movie, James.
I don't care. It's inaccurate.
James, should people go see Alita Battle Angel, Gundam Battle Angel, Alita,
Gundam?
If you like Pina Colada.
So we almost have like a perfect set here in that I'm the guy here who actually can't be very unbiased about this because I really loved the books. I read them when I was like 11 or 12, which is probably too young because the books are way more hyper-violent than the movie is.
Yeah.
And then actually just finished rereading all of the section that this movie touches. So it was like super fresh in my memory. And so I was going to qualify everything with that to begin with because I was afraid, like, for people who know nothing, like, when there's exposition or there's heavy-handed or, there's just confusing stuff, which there could be here because it's a weird story. Like, to me, none of it, like, I was able to follow everything and was really enjoying that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I ended up telling my folks to go see it. I think it's a very different, cool sci-fi action adventure movie. It's got a character that I love. Like I really adore Alita, and I think by the movie's kind of a slog until the bar sequence, and then I think it really picks up.
Yeah.
And at that point, you also get her as a character, and so I think in our audience, I could actually feel the whole audience like kind of lift at that moment and go like, "Oh, this is why I'm here."
Yeah.
So I would definitely say people should go see it. If you're into that kind of sci-fi thing, it's definitely something that's very different.
Right.
And sure, you're gonna have to turn your brain off for parts of it. There's some bits where I would have loved James Vanderbilt to have touched this, or like literally anybody who can turn out a script. I guess I should go look up. I know James Cameron had it co-written by somebody else, but I don't know who. So I should go look up and see who that was.
Maybe have Robert do it.
No. It was I think it was a woman's name.
No.
Oh, you're saying
I'm saying Robert might have.
Robert,
cool. Robert did it.
I'm sure he tweaked some stuff. I more mean I'd like
a full pass.
Michael Chabon or somebody like that to actually touch this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he could afford it given that he's James Cameron. Get Chabon to do that.
Oh, that guy touched Spider-Man 2. Like that guy goes right to a lot of
movies.
Of
people touch Spider-Man 2.
I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah. So I would say people should check it out. Here's the trailer.
Does it bother you that I'm not completely human?
You are the most human person I have ever met.
Didn't I tell you to be home before dark?
I just lost track of time.
Alita, you have to be responsible. You are someone very special.
Hey, kid.
not just a teenage girl.
Hey, what's your problem?
You can't remember.
What do you mean?
Doc found you in the scrapyard. So you must be from up there.
And I'm just an insignificant girl.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
I'm not your daughter. I don't know what I am.
I do. You have the most advanced weapon ever. But that's just a shell. It's not bad or good. That part's up to you.
I do not stand by in the presence of evil.
She's threatening the natural order of things. Tonight is not a game. It is a hunt. I need you to destroy the girl called Alita.
You made the biggest mistake of your life.
And what's that?
Underestimating who I am.
I'm almost disappointed Ryan's not here for this one because, like,
I would love to know his
I
opinion.
am fascinated to know whether or not he hated this movie.
Well, I will say
I bet he did.
You think?
No, it was probably like meh.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
It's interesting because this film, like, I jokingly referred to this when we walked out of it, James, but like one of the reasons I was kind of like meh on Ghost in the Shell was like I just didn't feel as invested with it. And for some reason with Alita, I felt invested in the anime nonsense that was going on because it's clearly anime nonsense, which is not to discredit or discourage anime fans. It's just I don't get it the way other people get it.
Sure.
And so I feel like my opinion of the film is predicated on a bias that may seem insulting.
And I think they did a good job of kind of curbing some of that and having it be. I think the places where where that pops up is like how. I don't want to say abrasive, but like how fast paced the first 15 minutes are, where it's just like,
and how much story
we got to move forward really fast and suddenly get you to a crime alley where a crazy cyborg lady is, because that's actually what the movie's about.
So this movie's 2 hours and 2 minutes long, and there was a scene where Alita comes back from being out late, and Christoph Waltz is like, "Hey, I told you not to be out late," and then they have like some food, and she's like, "Hey, do you have chocolate?" And then the scene ends. I'm like, what was the point of
Did
this
they have
scene?
chocolate?
No, like what?
Well, but I think
you could have saved yourself like 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but it's also during that weird period of the time of the movie where that I thought they would have cut, where you're supposed to kind of think that maybe Ito is a serial killer,
right? But it was the second time she noticed his arm, because the first time was when he was doing surgery. And
it's unnecessary because it's only a 10-minute long part of the movie. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's
like,
less.
Why is this scene in here? It's extraneous. Like it just abruptly ends because when she says like, "Do you have chocolate?" Like it's a joke.
Yeah,
but
I think that's part of it is them trying to just get some of her personality in the movie before, because you don't really, I don't feel like you know or like Alita until you get to Kansas, to the scene in the bar, Kansas, where she finally like jumps up on a table and calls dudes out and is like, "I'm gonna motherfucking hurt you." I think the real genuine laugh, levity, people were bought in moment was when like Hugo steps up and is like, "Oh, hey, and she's like, "I'm gonna need you to step really far back," and like the whole audience erupted in laughter, and then there was a tension of like, this is gonna be cool. But until then, I think they put those scenes in there because they want you to like her, because otherwise she's just kind of empty.
Yeah, there's a lot of build up to like. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There you go.
What weighs the movie down is the whole movie is basically her trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really do any detective work because she either just like has a flash memory that informs her, or other people direct her to things that like, or she gets exposition from people.
Yes.
Like she never, like she doesn't find the spaceship on her own.
True.
And yeah, she has those memories, and like that's the whole movie is like finding the new body, getting comfortable with like who she is. And meanwhile, there's this other thing going on with like robots getting harvested, and then the movie ends with like there's this villain Nova, and you've had like a glimpse of him. He's inhabiting people, and then it's Edward Norton.
Yeah. Okay. So
and we'll take care of this in the next movie, right?
Let's just jump right the guy who should play James Cameron in a biopic with that fucking wig.
Let's just jump straight to
such a bizarre.
Yeah. Maybe my least favorite part of the movie, which is. They shouldn't have shown him so much. Like, you see him for a second as a hologram. That should have been it. And then they should have just let the first movie understand him as an evil guy who works up in the city that you're that is like kind of controlling some of the gang life down here, right? Like, and that should have just been enough. That then to do the thing that kills me is like twice at the end of the movie they do this like evil pan around him reveal.
I think it's a recycled shot.
I almost thought so too. Well, except that in one he's got his sunglasses on, which in the book are just his eyes.
Right,
and
but
then,
they could
in the second one
have
he
just
takes
cut
them
that
off.
part of the first one though.
You could be right.
So I think it's the same shot.
It does feel like the same shot, and I don't know why, unless it's like
with a different background.
We paid a lot of money for Ed Norton because he's a dick. And it doesn't matter because they're gonna get fucking Mark Ruffalo to be him in the next one. So like, it doesn't matter. Like, why did you use that?
I think that you know what's funny? And again, at the risk of speaking out of ignorance, watching this film reminded me of the few times that I have read a manga, whether it's even just one book or an entire series, where I'm just like, oh, this is like one book out of a series of books that maybe we'll get more of, maybe we won't.
Yeah.
And but I enjoyed the isolated, I enjoyed it as its own thing. Yes, the ending is frustrating in the respect of I get it, we're supposed to get more of it. But I really appreciated the commitment to the insanity that goes on in this film.
Sure. There's a little bit of Speed Racer in there, is what you're saying.
There is, and that's part of why Speed Racer is a secret masterpiece. Go rewatch Speed Racer, guys. But the bar sequence, I actually think the moment I start getting extremely interested is in the alleyway scene where she starts learning that she can fight, because it reveals to us, hey, she's probably more than just some piece of scrap she found in the pile. And Christoph Waltz's character, so I'm an unabashed Christoph Waltz fan. I've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
I really like his performance in this, and when I first walked out of it, I didn't know if I really enjoyed it. But the more I walked out of it, then thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? He's playing a very delicate line of, I don't want to make this my surrogate daughter, but this is my surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually pretty genius what he's doing, mixed with the fact that he is playing this anime world in stride. And I mentioned it at the top of the review. He has a rocket axe that he hunts people
It's a
with.
Hammer.
Or what? I'm going to call it a rocket axe.
It's not,
it looks like
it's a rocket hammer.
Okay, whatever. It's a rocket hammer. Okay, fine.
It's
whatever.
pointy.
Okay, nerd.
If anything, it's like an ice pick with a rocket on it.
Okay, he's got this rocket thing that he swings around like he's fucking like Mario.
Maybe the most anime thing in the whole movie.
And it's done by Christoph Waltz. And you know what? There are moments where it looks
not
like
a good weapon.
It's almost
to fight some of these cyborgs with.
Yeah,
no,
it's
not
weird.
at
It's
all.
weird because it's kind of floaty.
That's what I was going to point, is that he looks like he's having so much trouble figuring out what the weight of the actual item he's holding is.
Yes,
it's very
true.
interesting. But whenever they close in on his face, it looks like he's terribly committed to it in a beautiful way. I appreciate the heck out of it. Also, there's so many character actors in this film that get overlooked and underappreciated. The one who gets the least screen time, and I think if there is a sequel, he needs an expanded role.
I would agree with you on
Jeff Fahey as the most badass cyborg of them all, a cowboy robot with an army of robot dogs. And he has the best line in the movie for me, is after Alita defeats Jackie Earle Haley's big old robot in the sewer, the robot dogs attack Jackie Earle Haley's character, and Jeff Fahey comes into screen and goes, "He wasn't a dog lover!" I couldn't stop laughing.
It was pretty great.
Jeff Fahey, guys. And you know what sucks? he has to do a co-share credit with another actor that I've never heard of, and I'm like, no, Jeff Fahey should get a single credit card, guys.
I think the reason why this movie is worth watching to me is I can't think of another movie you're going to see where you get to watch like a robot lady fight a bunch of really sometimes creative, sometimes less creative, but definitely different like sci-fi cyborg monster people, and like you get to see that dude get stabbed in the eye and then she breaks her arm off in his eye. Like the kind of action and violence and sci-fi stuff that you're getting here is just a little bit unique to me.
The robot designs,
that's where the passion kind of comes from.
The robot designs in this film are the most authentic to their source looking things I've seen.
True, yeah.
Ever. Like, I mean, Ghost in the Shell comes kind of close when I see photos of what Ghost in the Shell, the anime, looks like and what the movie looked like. They get okay. The unique designs of the different robots who are part of the hunter-killers and whatnot, I'm like, these look like they popped out of a manga book. Like, this is interesting.
And especially his, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Robert so the film also kind of feels like it's not dually directed, but like the motivations are different. I would say it's a Robert Rodriguez film, obviously, but there are moments that feel less Rodriguez-y than normal. And I mean, part of that is Jim Cameron going over to him and saying, "Hey, I like your garage, Robert. Can you come over and work in my garage?" Because that's basically what they do, guys. They work in their garages. But the bar scene is so uniquely Robert Rodriguez style approach and delivery and execution. But then when it goes down to the sewer, it's a little more Jim Cameron-y.
I did say when we were in the car, I really wish that he had gotten Cheech to be the bartender. Which
Oh,
would have been great.
yeah.
But
then I took it too far and suggested that Quentin Tarantino should have been the bounty hunter guy.
No. The other thing about this that was amazing to me is, so I got my brother to come see this too because he had obviously read them and has actually read way further into the series than I ever did. And I think, like, going in, I knew like things are going to be different. And then as the film moved on, like, the most different part of it is the beginning. And then as the movie goes, like, so much of it is accurate to the book that they would do things and I was like, holy shit, like, they actually did that, or they actually did this, or like, oh my God, like, here's that moment. And some of it was fantastic. And I remember thinking after I got out of the theater, like, this is probably what Harry Potter fans felt like. Where, like, because I was very afraid that everyone was going to hate this movie but me. And honestly, it's actually doing relatively well. Like, the word of mouth is pretty good. And then the box office over the weekend, it was like, it went up significantly on Saturday, kind of indicating, like, people are seeing it, liking it, and then telling other people to go see it in a way that I don't think anyone was expecting.
It's got a word of it's got a possible word of mouth, which is at this point its best bet to recoup and give an interest in a sequel, which I do want.
Well,
and also I'll say
it has another best bet, which is China.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Like, James Cameron's not a dumb-dumb.
AKA Michael Bay's best friends.
Right.
Yeah.
James Cameron is not a complete idiot, and this movie, marketed well to China, is
it'd be cool if they love that. I mean, I love that. I love that the China market does enjoy the spectacle stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that we have a hard time selling different genres over there, but
I do wish, like, this has a pretty serious James Cameron stamp on it in that.
Yeah.
I think that
if it did,
the performance from the guy who plays Hugo isn't great. I think a lot.
He's a heartthrob. He's a heartthrob.
I don't think it's even necessarily his fault in that. The second thing, which is a lot of the dialogue's not awesome.
Because it's James Cameron.
And and because I think they're adapting the book, but they're not really, like, going towards the real heart of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get just these really shitty, obvious scenes, like the moment where she's like, "Does it bother you that I'm not completely human?" Well, in a fucking world where everyone's a goddamn cyborg, it should bother her that he's a complete human. Like,
but James Cameron, and I will say this for the dialogue portion, for all that we could complain about with James Cameron's dialogue and all the times we could say I could write a better script, his dialogue works for people and it makes money.
Yeah,
they
but here's
love his scripts.
But
America
they
has
don't. People
shown that
don't love
many
his
times.
dialogue. But the like, it's a shame because that moment, and it's not even her statement that's the problem. It's his stupid hyperbolic return of "You're the most human person I've ever met."
Okay, it sounds like a line you're like faking interest in her to get laid.
And like here's a moment where you can actually make this romance ring. And you could have spent 20 minutes on that line. I don't mean of screen time. I mean, in the writer's room, you could have had a conversation about what does he really need to say? And what he needs to say is something that is way more honest and realistic and heartfelt than this, like...
Deep inside, we're all robots.
I'm 13 and I'm dating my first girlfriend bullshit answer. Like, it's just awful. And it's too bad because... What's interesting about Hugo, especially here, is how much they redeem him. Like, he's not anywhere near as bad as he is in the book. In the book, he's fucking murdering people.
Yeah.
Like, he's stealing their spinal columns and selling them on the black market. Like, when she figures out what he's doing, she's super pissed. And sure, she wants to help him, but he's a bad guy. Here, he's stealing people's parts and he's getting paid to do it. But he kind of feels like a victim of the system more. And you don't feel so bad for him, and he's immediately appalled at the idea of anybody getting killed. And so, like, they needed to kind of make that romance work, because clearly this movie wants her to actually love him. And so that, like, bits of shitty dialogue like that just completely take you out of it.
I'd do anything for you. I'd give you my heart. Literally.
Dude.
You know what?
But that one almost worked for me, and then she also has what is maybe the best piece of dialogue in the movie,
that was intense.
where she goes, "That was really intense, huh?" And like it was like a moment of levity after some James Cameron ass heavy dialogue.
Which makes me wonder, like, you're probably right. Like, I know there's another co-writer, but Robert Rodriguez probably does have a little bit of a hand in the script here.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because...
I mean, every director does.
All those things you mentioned being a problem, I was like, yeah, but they do found a way to counteract that in their own ways each and every time. And that's why this film's saved for me. Like, I'll be completely honest, and I know this is going to sound a little hyperbolic towards one of the Sundance kids, but... I think Robert Rodriguez saves this movie in a big bad way, because if this was left just to James Cameron, I would have been fucking annoyed.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I was just going to say, I mean,
Robert Rodriguez, director of Machete Kills,
the dialogue
saves
here,
this movie.
or the dialogue in every movie is won or lost by the director. Where even bad dialogue, the performance, lends a lot to it, and. That dialogue can get tweaked on set when somebody's saying something and you go, God, that just doesn't sound good.
Well, yeah, that's the job of the director.
When you're looking at this moment and going like, man, this just doesn't feel like in that moment where she, says that to him, when you don't have any real chemistry on set, like you should feel that and go like, oh, we need to fix this. Like, I got to figure out how to make this moment better.
I'll tell you what did it for me on that, what made me convinced of that. So Robert Rodriguez, obviously he's directed like Desperado films and stuff like that. He also did the Spy Kids movies, which have a lot of heart in them. And the scene after she gets her new body, and Christoph Waltz has that scene where he's like, but it's just a shell, it's not good or bad, which I think is a beautiful moment in that film. And she just snuggles up with him, and just like they're just affectionate towards each other, like in a father-daughter way. Like there's a tenderness to that moment that recalls some of the most heartwarming things about some Robert Rodriguez movies. Like there's just a familial, like there's a comfort zone there. Like it's slight in this scene in this case, but it's enough to add something to the film. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. Like, I mean, I want another one, and I want Robert to do that, and I want Robert to actually get involved in the script even more somehow, and maybe kick Jim over to the side to go work on his Blue Cat movies or whatever the fuck he wants to do. Titanic 2, great idea. Go do that, Jim. But I like the
Titanic 2, Cruise Control.
Titanic 2, we made another one. But I want to see where you can take it. I want to see what you can do with the Edward Norton character. Not that I really care. I really liked Mahershala Ali in the movie too.
Yeah,
he's fun.
It was good.
Jennifer
Jennifer Connelly.
That part where she just shows up at the end at the right time.
Stupid.
Like,
why was she there?
I don't care.
Alita on rollerblades, like rollerbladed across half of Iron City, and then last time we saw Jennifer Connelly, she was just up in the box seats at
Super dumb.
How did she?
Especially because in the book,
get there as fast?
In the book, Alita just does that. Like there should have.
I get they're probably like trying to help the audience along with like, well, Alita's new to everything. How would she know complicated surgical techniques?
But she already has the heart scene with him earlier. Like that's why the heart scene works is because.
And she's seen working alongside Ito, like helping with scalpels and things.
Yes.
So we assume she's getting that. So yeah, it's just like
Jennifer Connelly being there is only really there. So her character doesn't exist in the books, and she.
I thought she was. I was like, I don't remember this character.
Yeah. So in the books, and my brother talked about this too. Like the whole thing about it being Ito's daughter's body and all that. That's all different. He names her Alita after his old cat, which was a boy. Like it's just a little throwaway little joke. But they wanted to add a lot more. Well, two things. One, it adds some humanity and character to Ito.
Make it more paternal.
Yeah, and fixes some of the weird relationship between Ito and Alita. Because I'll say it this way, it solidifies her as a daughter figure to him, where I think in the first few chapters of the book you kind of don't know, and I think you would get that same weird feeling in the movie. Like Jennifer Connelly's character is interesting and serves a narrative purpose, but she doesn't need to be there.
I don't
like. She just needed a good speech somewhere near the end. That's not "I'm a mother," and then she just turns into a brain. Which brain in the box reveal, awesome. Like that's
Yeah,
what to use
put
the
a black
character
and white
for that.
filter on that. That looks like a 40s sci-fi film.
Right.
That's pretty fun.
Like to use that
RoboCop
character
2
for
style.
that.
Yeah.
Because it is what a great reveal. But again, it's one of those things where they should have spent a little more time making. Like in the book, Alita really wants to go to the city too, and so it's a really heartbreaking moment when she realizes, like, oh no, like this is all lies. All of this shit is lies. But it's still fine. There's things I would tweak to do better, but at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this because she jumps in the air and kicks 2 bottles into dudes' faces and kicks the shit out of all those dudes in the bar and loses 2 legs and an arm and then jumps up and punches a dude in the eyeball and breaks her other arm off in his face because fuck that guy.
I think Rosa Salazar does a really good job at selling that character too.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that because it's weird. Because
I looked at a picture of her.
I
looked at her picture of her. Not all of her face is completely gone.
Oh, everything you're seeing is a CG face. They're using motion capture, but she's a cat person.
But regardless of that, though, okay, then we got to start making comments about Andy Serkis because I know he doesn't look like Gollum.
It's not this. It is the same thing, but that's not that she's not doing a great job.
It's just that
she's
look is
doing a great job. It's just she's not ever on. I guess a different way to say it is, as pleasant, as surprising as it is to literally see the anime character in the film,
you're kind of wondering why.
I kind of just wish they had gotten a young woman and sure CG her face some to change her, but but have some of it be real and some of it not, and don't let me know where the seams are. Right? Like if you really want her to have big eyes, great, give her big eyes, but give her big eyes like on a person.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that because it makes her feel other. It's like she's the only cat person in an Avatar movie. Right? It's like why is she different?
That is one of the few things that kind of throws me off sometimes, especially with the scenes with Hugo. But I'm able to get over it. So
yeah,
cool.
So,
right on.
Anyway, cool.
What is next week?
I don't know. I think next week was a dead week, and so it's happy murder time to you.
Yeah, because the week after is How to Train Your Dragon 3, right?
Fuck yeah!
Oh,
I cried during the trailer.
Because next week, so next week would be Happy Death Day to You, and then How to Train Your Dragon, and then Captain Marvel. So yeah, never mind. You guys are right. I'm wrong.
I cried during the trailer to How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Uh-huh.
Not because I don't even know that trailer looks great. but just because it reminded me of how good the end of How to Train Your Dragon 1 is.
I have the first one on Blu-ray. I haven't seen the second one yet. So
second one's fine. I mean, it's a sequel, but
yeah,
it's the image of them both getting hurt and then their like their wounds from their story actually making them a part of each other is just an awesome image.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyway,
right on. Cool.
Damn, I forgot to talk about Cold Pursuit.
Oh, what's Cold Pursuit?
And Liam Neeson's
snowplow
that's movie.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's been in the news.
Well,
save that for next week.
He's an old guy.
Yeah. He could have saved more.
I'm gonna let him off the hook. He hasn't been raping kids for 30 years. Anyway, thanks, Brian Singer. Have a good night.
Until next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.